world, my name is Natalie. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Welcome to an episode of Let's Chat About Wicked Part 2, Part 2. If you haven't seen Part 1, then actually I talked about Wicked Part 2 before the trailer even came out, so I gave a lot of my hints and first looks specifically looking at this movie poster. Then I also did a trailer reaction, so if you couldn't tell, I'm definitely a fan. I have been a fan of Wicked since I saw the musical live in 7th grade. Also, full disclosure, I've been very busy recently. I'm helping with our university's orientation program, so I might not post within the next few weeks, but I really wanted to talk about the new first looks and glances that we've gotten. So this video is going to be a very casual chat, and I promise I'll get back to my typical room corner at some point soon. So we've actually got a lot of drops within the past week. We got a video looking at some behind the scenes first looks about talking about the movie, and then 2 costumes. So first, let's look at the behind the scenes kind of movie look. And we get some new clips, a lot of clips from the trailer, but some newer ones that are really cool, kind of showing behind the scenes, specifically with the relationship of Glinda and Elphaba. And I think their dynamic is really important. I'm really curious to see how long this film is going to be, because Wicked Part 1 was pretty much longer than the entire stage musical. And in my opinion, I don't know if they really added too much to change the story. I think they more focus on character and development, but I think Wicked Part 2 needs a lot of changes to the story. Maybe changes isn't the right word, but actual plot things that I think could be cleared out. This is going to be spoiler free, but Part 2 is what connects Wicked Part 1 and then The Wizard of Oz. So there's a lot of kind of tornado effects and jumbling that all kind of happens together, so it can get a little bit rushed. So I feel like they need to use their runtime very wisely, but I want them to really flesh out that dynamic, specifically why Elphaba's leaving. She's leaving to help the animals, and I kind of want to see more of her activism in this, but then I'm afraid it'll probably get called too woke. First thing I noticed in the first look, and I think this is just because I've recently, like, my TikTok has been all about Cynthia Erivo in Jesus Christ Superstar at the Hollywood Bowl. She's absolutely amazing. But this look of Glinda at her wedding, and I don't mean to mean this in a religious way, so please don't take this the wrong way. It looks like Cynthia Erivo's version of the Crown of Thorns when she played Jesus. I know it's like a butterfly crown. I'm not sure. I know everything. Sorry, my phone is shaking. I'm holding this with my hand. I know everything specifically in costuming is done with so many details. Everything is done for a reason. So it kind of resembles maybe the theater version of what you would think of when you see a Crown of Thorns. Again, maybe that's stretching, maybe that was just like my first gut reaction, but it's really interesting to see like her sacrifice. I didn't mean to put that in quotes, but Glinda is a public figure now, and you could see she's not entirely sold. We see, sorry, this is really shaking. I don't quite know if this is a spoiler, but this might be a spoiler. We see Glinda in her wedding dress in the trailers, so she's getting married, but you can see a lot in the expressions on her face that this isn't really something that she wants or she believes that Fiero wants, so it could be a cool nod to her sacrifice. Okay, I'm gonna record another clip, hopefully it's less shaky. Get a little bit closer to my face. So the first look is really interesting. We also get the clip of like Glinda and Elphaba sitting at like a picnic. We got that clip in the Part 1 trailer, and I don't believe it was in the movie, at least to my recollection. So that could be a cool flashback scene. Again, this video is probably going to be short because I am running on very little sleep and am probably gonna have to edit this later, so sorry if it's shaking again. But I also really want to talk about the first looks we got on Instagram. This is where I'm gonna get backlash again. For my part 1 of my Wicked Part 2 costume analysis, I don't know. I'm not sold on the costumes. I mean this with all the love in my heart. I want this movie to do so well. I'm going to see this movie in theater so many times. I love Wicked. I'm a super fan. I'm not sold on these costumes. The one we saw for Glinda is this, and there's something about it. Well, there's a lot of things about it. So again, this is all my personal opinion, and I am not an expert. First, when I sent this to my friend Allison, she helped me flesh it out a little bit more. I've heard some people say it looks a little bit photoshopped, and I'm not saying that it is, especially in an age where like people are so critical to call things AI. I'm not calling it Photoshop or AI, but it does kind of look like something that's very unnatural in a way, maybe just for me, but I cannot stand the color scheme because, I don't know, maybe because she's wearing a little hat. I'm gonna assume this is the Thank Goodness dress. Look, okay, I talked about Thank Goodness too much in my last video. I love that. It's one of my personal favorite numbers, but it is a very important number. In the costume for the musical, she's wearing all green because she's representing the Emerald City. In this costume, she's wearing pink and green. And here's the thing. I think Glinda needs to give up pink for Act 2. I know it's really easy to market pink and green and like, this is the pink character, this is the green character, but I feel like the Act 1 Glinda is different than Glinda in Act 2, and I feel like there needs to be a differentiation into how she's portrayed when she's younger and how she's portrayed now that she's older, and if we keep putting her in pink, we're not really showing that arc. Also, why is there pink and green? I get if it's all green like the Emerald City, and I get if it's like pink because that's Glinda, but like the little things of green, I don't know. I'm not sold. I'm probably gonna get hate for that, but it's also way too late at night. I said what I said. Like I said, I'm not sold on it. And another thing is it doesn't match with the purple costume. I'm all for, again, the aesthetic of like she only wears pink. I wouldn't be a fan of that, but she's been marketed in this purple dress, and these two dresses just don't look like they're next to each other. Maybe there's like a time jump, and it's like differentiating her character arc. And then we're also probably going to get the original pink ball gown because Wicked is like a full circle story because no one warns the Wicked at the very beginning. She's telling the story, and I don't really think this is a spoiler. No, because in the trailer we see her going back to that pink dress. So I feel like this pink flower dress, this like other random dress we see for like a shot or two, her wedding dress, the purple dress, and her original dress, they don't all look cohesive together. And you could make the argument that like, she's not in a cohesive state of mind. She's very scatterbrained at the moment. And like, yes, but also I feel like it's just, you can't just explain away because of her situation. So again, not entirely a fan. As for Elphaba, we haven't really seen much like diversity in like what she wears, which I get it. She's like living and hiding away in a forest, so she's not gonna have like a full closet and different wardrobe. I think her outfits look pretty awesome. I know in some of the previous artwork they've showed her in pants, and I think that's cool. Awesome slay. Against the grain, against the government. She can also probably fly a broom better if she's wearing pants. But that's all I officially have to say. Like I said, I probably have a lot more thoughts, but it is way too late. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but let me know your thoughts down below. Are you excited about this new batch of costumes we're getting? I also think the rollout in general is different because I feel like at this point last year we were getting a lot of sneak peeks at Wicked Part 1, and I think because the first part of the movie is already out, the marketing team is kind of taking a step back a little bit because they already know you know the IP of Wicked, and they're kind of keeping it a little bit of a secret, and I think Act 2 really needs to be a secret. We haven't seen Bach or Nessa, we've seen a little bit of Fiero, and those two characters are really important in Act 2, and I wonder if there's a reason why we haven't really seen promotional material other than like the character shots of those two characters. So let me know your thoughts down below. I hope you have the best day ever. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. Again, I might not be posting for the next few weeks. I promise I'm okay. I'm just living in the real world. So I might see you guys later and have the best day ever. Okay, goodbye for now, for real.